Okay, so Bernie Sanders is finally starting to actually go on the offensive towards Joe Biden. He lays out the differences here and why Joe Biden is a terrible candidate to go against Donald Trump. He's actually probably the least electable, but yeah, he's going to lay that out. And this is long overdue, honestly, in my opinion, because I get that he's like biding his time. He's like waiting for the right moment to attack Joe Biden, and right before Iowa is like the perfect moment. Don't get me wrong, but he's been way too soft on Joe throughout the course of this primary. Like he mentions in every debate, like, Joe, you voted for the war in Iraq, or like, Joe, you voted for the bankruptcy bill or whatever. You pushed the bankruptcy bill. But he's never really like aggressively gone after him. So he's finally starting to do that. Let's check this out. It's him. It's here on CNN. It's with Anderson Cooper.
I want to focus a little bit on domestic politics, obviously with Iowa and New Hampshire coming up. You said recently about Vice President Biden, his record, you said to the Washington Post, quote, "It's just a lot of baggage that Joe takes into a campaign, which isn't going to create energy and excitement." Is there something specifically you were referring to in terms of baggage?
Sure. I mean, look, Joe and I are friends, and I truly like Joe. But what is imperative is that we...
Can I just say, I really hate when he says Joe and I are friends. I like Joe. Joe Biden is not your friend, Bernie. He is trying to sabotage this election for you. He knows he's a terrible candidate to go against Donald Trump. He knows he could lose. He knows he's just going to continue the status quo as usual. He knows there's all these issues that need solving, but he's getting in your way. He's getting in the way of the political revolution, and he's doing it to protect the status quo and to protect his donors. So, Bernie, he is not your friend. You should not be saying that. It softens the blow of everything you're about to say about him. So, sorry, I just had to say that. Bernie, Joe's not your friend. I don't know why he keeps saying that.
We defeat Trump, the most dangerous president in modern history. And that means you're going to have a huge voter turnout. You're going to have to get working people excited. You're going to have to get young people excited. Joe Biden voted and helped lead the effort for the war in Iraq, the most dangerous foreign policy blunder in the modern history of this country.
So when he says Joe not only voted for the Iraq war, he also helped lead the effort, that is a very good point to be bringing up, because it's one thing to vote for the Iraq war, which is inexcusable in it by itself, but Joe Biden not only at the time helped or voted for the Iraq war, he was like the Iraq war cheerleader at the time. He literally was like one of the leading voices in getting us into Iraq. And then even after we got in there, I just saw a clip today of him praising George W. Bush and acting like he was amazing and that we need to continue the course of action in Iraq, which is just beyond like that. The fact that he still thinks that he should be running for president after that big of a mistake, that's not even a mistake. That's just like, what are you doing? Like, that's just inexcusable. That should automatically disqualify you. So great for Bernie to keep bringing that up.
Joe Biden voted for the disastrous trade agreements like NAFTA and permanent normal trade relations with China, which cost us millions of jobs. Do you think that's going to play well in Michigan or Wisconsin or Pennsylvania?
So right there, he's talking about all these trade deals that Joe Biden supported, like NAFTA, permanent normal trade relations with China. All of these trade deals helped to outsource so many jobs in the swing states that Donald Trump won in 2016. And it was because Hillary Clinton pushed for all these trade deals. Donald Trump was going over to these states saying, how can you support somebody who called the Trans-Pacific Partnership the gold standard, or how can you vote for somebody who's supported NAFTA, husband signed NAFTA, and it worked. Meanwhile, Hillary Clinton wasn't even campaigning in the Rust Belt, but Joe Biden also voted for all these trade deals and also supported all these trade deals. So it's just going to be Hillary Clinton all over again. It's going to be Donald Trump going out there saying how he's the savior and that his trade deals are so much better than NAFTA and TPP and PNTR, but it's going to work. It's going to be a disaster, and Joe Biden will get obliterated in those states, which are necessary to win.
You know, Joe Biden has been on the floor of the Senate talking about the need to cut Social Security or Medicare or Medicaid. Joe Biden pushed a bankruptcy bill, which has caused enormous financial problems for working families. So if we're going to beat Trump, we need turnout. And to get turnout, you need energy and excitement. And I just don't think that kind of record is going to bring forth the energy that we need to defeat Trump.
Senator Elizabeth Warren was asked by Jake Tapper yesterday why she believes her Medicare for All transition plan is better than yours. I want to play her response so that you have an opportunity to respond to that.
All right. So as for Joe Biden, yeah, utterly atrocious record. Like Bernie says, you need turnout to defeat Trump. The only way we're going to defeat Trump is if you have young people, non-voters, independents, people who don't normally vote to come out in record numbers and to basically wash out the people that already vote, or by matching their voting numbers, because young people normally don't vote, and Bernie's making a special effort to reach out to young people. He's attracting a lot of young people into his campaign. You got the older people who are very reliable. They're the ones that always show up in the polls. That's another thing to note. These polls, Bernie's in like second, 9 points behind Joe Biden on the RCP polling average. But the people that Bernie is going after for support they could not be showing up very well in the polls, because he's going after young people, he's going after non-voters, people that don't normally get polled. And he's saying Joe Biden's record of all these horrible, horrible, horrible votes and just status quo defender, corporate Democrat, just centrist, right-wing. Joe Biden is like famously like the Democrat that likes to work with Republicans, but it's always on stuff that that is just a Republican priority, like deregulating Wall Street, or like cutting taxes for the rich, or invading Iraq. Joe Biden was always the one that was just right there cheering them along. So he's basically just Republican pretending to be left-wing. So yeah, what Bernie's saying is that's not going to excite the base, because the base of the Democratic Party, you got, people that want Medicare for all, they want healthcare for everybody, they want climate change action, they want a Green New Deal, they want raise the minimum wage, they want to expand Social Security, they want to, have a strong social safety net. And if Joe Biden's the nominee, he's not even going to bring out his own base, because he doesn't support any of those things. Same problem with Hillary Clinton in 2016. Nobody wanted to come out for her because she wasn't exciting her own base. She didn't bring out enough of the people that normally vote Democrat. And because she was such a boring candidate that didn't even bring out her own base, that wasn't attracting any new people that don't normally turn out, like young people or independents. Why would they want to go vote for a Republican-like candidate? Bernie's saying, hey, we need to excite the base. We need to get young people excited. We need to get working people excited. Get the people that want actual left-wing priorities to have those left-wing priorities. Tell them you're going to actually fight for them. And then you'll bring out not only your own base, but you'll bring out independents. You'll bring out young people, people that don't normally vote. So great answer here from Bernie. He's finally starting to make the distinction. He needs to take the gloves off. I would have not only said this same stuff, but I would also say that Joe has a history of taking money from a lot of special interests, a lot of corporate interests, because that's one thing. I don't know why Bernie is so soft on these frauds. He could literally just look at Joe Biden every time he uses an insurance industry talking point against Medicare for all and say, Joe, I know the reason that you're using that talking point, like the choice talking point, where they say, oh, we want you to be able to choose your private insurance plan, and Medicare for all won't do that. I don't know why Bernie doesn't just say, like, Joe, you're taking money, you took so much money from the health insurance industry in the form of campaign contributions. That's why you're saying that. So stop using these nonsense talking points. I would have added something like that, like for him to say Joe Biden has taken money from health insurance companies, fossil fuel companies, stuff like that. But because that's the kind of stuff that's really going to set Bernie apart. But other than that, great job from Bernie outlining why he's not going to generate the excitement and the turnout to defeat Trump, and why he's probably the weakest candidate to defeat Trump.